Hi lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Waistcoats and Weaponry by Gail Carriger. This is a YA steampunk novel that takes place at an espionage school for young ladies. This is the third book in the series, so you should check out Etiquette and Espionage, the first book, first before trying to read book 3, and I'll post my review for books 1 and 2 down in the description below if you want to check those out first. So the third book starts off at the school, and the girls are progressing in their education. They're on their way to being done. I think they're halfway through, maybe a little more than that. And the emphasis in their education in this book is on seduction techniques, which the girls kind of don't have a lot of experience with, especially Sophronia. But that ends up playing a big part in this book, is this love triangle between Felix and Soap and her, and who she's going to pick. Also, Sophronia learns how to use the fan as a weapon, which I really love. I am not Sophronia, I'm not skilled with the fan, but that seems like such a cool weapon to have. It would be totally inconspicuous and innocuous. It would totally not draw attention in everyday Victorian society, but could totally be used as a weapon, especially when it's this baby with its blades and everything on it. That's totally kick-ass. I want one, please. I just love that that's her weapon and kind of her signature style, and this kind of marks Sophronia starting to really take control of who she is and who she's going to be as an adult. Other big themes in this book are trying to figure out where her loyalties lie also, whether or not she's going to side with the Picklemen or the Supernaturals. And at first she's very neutral. She just wants balance. So as this book progresses, then she really does start to pick one side more than the other. And the teachers are definitely making them think about their futures more, like what kind of men they're going to marry, which is a big part for Sophronia, as she has Felix, Lord Mercy, on one side, who is very rich, and could definitely offer her several opportunities, but he's also aligned with the Picklemen through his father, and Sophronia is trying to change him throughout this book, which kind of makes me nervous. Like, you shouldn't try to change him, but on the other hand, he's kind of wrong, so I don't know. And then the other side of her love triangle is Soap, which is a lower class. He's just one of the cities who work on the ship. As far as society is concerned, he doesn't exist. So definitely very different sides. And then we also have Diminity's brother Pillover, who would be an awesome suit for her if she actually felt any kind of feelings for him, or him having feelings for her. And the other girls in the class are also starting to have these ideas too about whether or not they're going to go into intelligence, or if they're going to settle down and just be normal ladies, or who they're going to marry. And we see that especially with Sidheg. I can't pronounce her name, which is awful because she's kind of takes the forefront in this book. She gets a letter and runs off with Captain Nile in the night. She's absolutely distraught, and none of the other girls or the teachers know what's going on, just that she's left. And it kind of causes this big kerfuffle where everybody's like, what's going on? I don't know. Is she okay? And at the same time, Sophronia and Dimity are getting ready to leave the school so they can attend Sophronia's brother's engagement ball, where they're going to be met with Dimity's brother Pillover and the Lord Felix Mercy from Bunsen's, who are going to be their escorts. So this whole journey between them leaving and going to the ball is a big deal. They're in a finishing school, so obviously they're very excited to get to try out what they've been learning as far as dancing and being a proper lady. Sophronia is definitely getting better at the intelligence and the spy part also, which plays a part in this book. Obviously, it's Sophronia. Of course, she's going to find something happening. So while they're at the ball, of course, chaos ensues. There is this big demonstration with all the mechanicals, and they all kind of break down at the same time, all of them. Even to a smaller extent, Bumper Snoop starts getting really, confused. I'll just make up words to describe what's happening, whatever. So there's this big mystery about what happened to all of the mechanicals and who's causing it, and was it deliberate? And at the same time, at the ball, Sighead emerges and causes this big scene. She's accompanied by two werewolves, which end up being Captain Nile and also the Duin, I think, who is the head of the werewolves and the representative to Queen Victoria on their behalf. And a really big deal, basically. And they have come to put Sighead back in the protection of her friends so she can return to school, while they run off to the pack to deal with what's been going on, which is that there has been this huge coup. The pack has attempted an assassination on Queen Victoria, and the Alpha, which is Sighead's grandfather, has killed the Beta for his disloyalty, but then also abandoned the pack, which is causing just all this chaos and turmoil, and Sighead has not been able to get her grandfather to return to the pack. So the Duin and Captain Nile head off to Scotland to deal with that. And Sighead is just so completely distraught. She's gonna go after her pack either way. And so Sophronia, Dimity, Lord Felix, and Soap end up going with her. Soap has managed to stealthily sneak his way into this ball and infiltrate it so that he could keep an eye on Sophronia, which is kind of cute. And also, I love how skilled he's gotten at being stealthy from association with her. So Soap is also accompanying them, and so the love triangle definitely heats up a lot more as Felix and Soap are both on this journey with her. Pillover decides to stay behind because he's not going to be very useful and helps them escape and tries to cover for them at the ball. So on their quest, they manage to hijack a train that is headed in the right direction, but it seems to be tailing this one dirigible, and they end up getting caught up in vampire pickleman politics, and this definitely makes Sophronia have to decide where she stands on their politics and beliefs. Yeah, so that's the end of the not spoilery bit of this, although part of that was probably spoilery anyway. Sorry about that. Definitely go read the book, check it out if you haven't already. And if you have read it, then I will talk about my feelings on the rest of this book, because that ending, oh my goodness. So spoilers abide beyond this point. So what they find out on the train is first that Monique is there and that she is working as a drone for the London vampires, and that they have been following the dirigible that the Picklemen are controlling, and that the Picklemen are the ones who managed to short circuit all of the mechanicals at the ball, and it's a test run to see if they can kind of dismantle all the mechanicals at once, and that they're using the prototype from book 1 to do this, which is just kind of, I love the details and the way it falls into everything else that's happening in this conflict, and I love getting to see where it was going. The vampires also have this like receiver on the train that kind of throws them for a loop, and is kind of this red herring. The head of the Picklemen is Felix's father, and so we definitely see this come to a head with Felix deciding where his loyalties are, or what appears to be Felix deciding where his loyalties are anyway, and Sophronia having to side with the supernaturals as Felix's father shoots Soap and almost kills him. Soap ends up getting turned into a werewolf, which is what he wanted anyway. But it was kind of touch and go whether or not he was going to survive. And it really pisses off Sophronia as she decides that she really does love, or definitely feels something very strong for Soap, and that she's very pissed off that anybody would put his life in danger. And so she decides to side with the supernaturals, and in particular the werewolves. Which I kind of thought she was going to side with the supernaturals anyway. She's been getting attentions from one of the vampires in London for backing, and I thought that's where she was going to go with it. But then the stuff was so Sophronia pledges to serve the werewolves, which is kind of cool and not what I was expecting. So I liked that. I'm gonna definitely like Soap more as a partner for Sophronia than Felix. Although it would have been really interesting, and I mean, it still could turn out that way in book 4, but like it would be interesting if Sophronia did end up with Felix and how that dynamic would end up. And it's also kind of cool to think about what would happen if she was with Pillover, because he would kind of just let her do whatever she wanted, and that would be as close to true independence as she could get while still having some sort of support and backing. And the whole, like, if she went off on her own is also kind of interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen. She's too valuable, too big a player to be a true independent. She needs to side with somebody. That whole ending was just so exciting. Like, a lot of the beginning of the book was kind of like, oh, okay, what's going on? Cool, there's going to be a ball. That's interesting. I'm intrigued, but I'm not like, oh my goodness, my heart's pounding until I got to the end of this book. And, like, the Picklemen are literally firing cannons at the train, and then it's like, somebody's gonna die, and it almost was Soap. So, yeah, I am really, really excited to see what happens in the next book and where that's gonna go. To the point that I need to finish this book review so I can start the next book. Really excited for what's gonna happen next. So Sighed ends up with Captain Nile, which I was totally shipping anyway, but like the fact that they're gonna be engaged and the way that their engagement came about is kind of being this reluctant thing is really cute and I love it. So Sighed has left the school, and I'm really excited to find out what happens to Dimity too, because she's not really meant to be an intelligence, or it's coming out as that. And I don't think Pillover is going to be a good like evil genius either. So I'm excited to see where those two end up and where their lives go. And I hope we get to see V more in the next book also. She was a big part of this, or any part of this. So I missed her terribly. I think that's it. I really, really love this book and all the like twists and turns it had. And the relationships are a huge part of it. Anyway, there's my book review for Waistcoats and Weaponry by Gail Carriger. Totally loved it. Totally recommended this entire series. It's amazing. So, yeah, go check it out if you haven't already. Peace out. Peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.